With me in the studio are Dr. Ma'amor Osman, Secretary General of the Muslim Consumers Association, Marina Mahathir, Advisor to the Malaysian AIDS Council, and Ben Monteiro, an outreach worker for Positive Living. Thanks for staying with us. Ben, let me begin with you. Surely what we've learned from the rest of the world's experience with AIDS is that the more knowledge there is, the more openness there is, the better the approach to tackling the problem. So surely this measure in Malaysia is perhaps not the best way to do that, but it's a step towards that.
No, I don't look at it like that, because what it's doing, it's driving those that are tested positive away.
But when they know they're positive, at least they can then seek help.
No, but you see, the fear of family knowing about their status, the fear of friends knowing about their status, there is discrimination out there in the world. Okay, people talk about these people, so, and you can't stop it.
But the case of Jamalia there is someone who, had she known that her husband was positive, she may have been able to protect herself against his disease, surely.
But I think she didn't say when he became positive. She may well have been married already to him and then found out. But you know, it's not as easy as all that. There are many women who are already married, been married many years, and who suspect their husbands are HIV positive, mainly because of drug use, and are totally unable to negotiate safe sex with them. This is one of the biggest issues we have here.
We'll get on to that in just a sec. Let me put the point that Marina just made to you, Dr. Ma'amor. The fact is that this test is one moment in time, and it's a very small window, and if you can contract HIV under almost at any time. So choosing this one moment is entirely arbitrary and almost pointless.
No, at least you start somewhere. You know, you understand.
Well, that doesn't answer the question. At least starting somewhere.
Let me give some further explanations. Even I ask the government not why you stop at having HIV blood test only. You should also get the whole spectrum for hepatitis virus and other type of virus.
So you're advocating that the government introduce mandatory testing for a whole range of diseases?
No, no.
Where does the government stop drawing lines here? I mean, if we were to extend it into every single disease.
Well, exactly. You know, I think, you know, when we talk about education of people with about HIV in this country, is it really there? There are so many people. We have a whole cohort of 300 HIV positive women, widows, in Kelantan, and we did a study, and they all knew their husbands were drug users before they got married. They married them anyway because they could not understand the connection between that drug use and HIV vulnerability. So, you know, to say that the education is out there is not right. And furthermore, is testing the way to get people educated? Why not just educate and then encourage them to get tested, because there are benefits, the benefits being early treatment. I agree that they should be tested for all sorts of other diseases. I mean,
really?
Yes.
Mandatory?
Not necessarily, no, not mandatorily, because mandatory takes out the education element. You do it because you have to. It's like taking a driving license.
I agree with what Marina said. Okay, if they want to make something mandatory, then how about safe sex? Yeah, I mean, why are we all running away from that subject of safe sex? Yeah, I mean, if you really want to do something to control HIV and AIDS, then...
Which brings it back to my question of ethics here.
You know what,
if you're going to enforce people's behavior during their sex lives, why not make condoms mandatory?
Yes. Well, yes.
No, should not make condom. Using condom is one of the way to prevent disease sexually transmitted. Okay, there are many other ways also. In the first, for instance,
how?
For instance, in Islam they mention la taqrabu zina. You cannot having free sex or multi.
No, but if you're married, how do you prevent a married woman from getting infected from her husband if they've been married 20 years?
No, that's why. That's why. Once you make a mandatory, there must be a package. So the government have policies that they encourage people to have yearly tested.
But that doesn't. Does that change your behavior?
I will agree if then the Malaysian government come up with a anti-discrimination law that says yes, people with HIV can work.
Yeah, sure.
No.
But then
we don't
you
have
see,
that.
you don't have that.
If I may stop you all there, let's look at the monetary element for a minute. If you test everybody in the country every year, that's an enormous public health cost. Are the benefits actually worth it?
No.
I think
No, because look, in Malaysia, the prevalence rate is under 1%. It's 0.016% of the general population. Now, if you're going to test everybody, that's the result you're going to get. So is it worth spending millions and millions and millions to have a return that's 0.016%? That's a, that's a big question, especially nowadays with the economic recession.
No,
but Ben,
actually,
with the people that you've dealt with,
yes.
tell me how the cultural element works. It's interesting to note that the rate of infection and the problem that we're talking about here is actually very much concerned with the Malaysian population, the Malay population, as opposed to the Chinese and Indian population. Why is that, and how does it differ?
Now, yes, there are more women, especially Malay women, but it is not the women who are not married. It's not young women, but it's women who have been married who are being infected.
Well,
Can I explain why it was Muslim
Go
people
ahead.
only? It's because of the system. The Federal Ministry of Health does not agree with mandatory testing. They are obliged to honor all sorts of international regulations that do not allow mandatory testing, WHO conventions and all that. The only way they did this is because they went through the religious department in the states. Now, religion is a state obligation. That's the only way they could have done it. Unfortunately, now they're going to extend it to the rest of the population as well, which is ridiculous. There is no evidence that this is necessary.
I'm a medical practitioner, okay? The cost for the test of HIV, I think less than 30 ringgit, if it's from government side. Can you imagine how much government have to spend to treat a contracted persons due to the negligence? So I'm sure
Negligence?
I mean, you let them marry and then transfer the disease unknowingly. Should you know it earlier, so you can ask the couple, okay, if you want to have sex, they know how to prevent. And hopefully by preventing that, can you imagine the Puan Jamilah cases? They don't know that the son's getting contracted, and he also contracted from the husband unknowingly. So I'm
going to give the final word to Ben on this, because I want you to describe the problems on a social level that conversations like this actually cause.
Okay, it's not about testing, but it's about getting men to use condoms. You can test hundreds of people, but if they're still going to carry on having unprotected sex, this thing is still going to go on.
And you don't think that testing the men before they get married will in some way force them to own up and to be more open?
No.
No. We have reports of people going to doctors to falsify the test results. We have people going to private practitioners to do the test first, and only if they come out negative, then they go for the official test, which means they know that they have risk behaviors. But they don't want, the fear of what will happen if you have a positive test is huge.
You rather face the reality. Okay, for example, okay, your wife will get annoyed when you want to use condom. Because I mean, this level of satisfaction is different.
Wife is not annoyed. Wife wants. It's the man who refuses.
This is not about that. That is why people are getting infected, because they don't want, they refuse to use the condom because they want to have that feeling.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to have to call it an end to that. We've run out of time. My thanks to all my guests, and that's it from all of us here at 101 East. Until next time, bye-bye.